All right, welcome to the Queen Amina Show. We are live. And we are going to continue on our Motivation Monday, which I nickname as More Monday with Dr. Marlyn Morris. She is so kind to spend her 1 hour or less with us again today on Raising Resilient Children, a partnership approach. We started this series a couple of Mondays now, and we've been going just a couple of other Mondays. We were unable to broadcast, and because I was busy with so many other things, and I knew we're going to come back to complete the series. And thank you so much for everyone that has been joining and following our More Monday, the comments. We love you and we welcome you to another session with Dr. Marlyn Morris. So today I am going to bring her up just to continue the series that she has started. And if we have any question, please don't hesitate to post your questions on the comment section, and we might be able to take the questions live on the show as time permits us. Couple of few things that are coming up: the Vigor Unsung Heroes Award International, October 3rd and 4th. It's promised to be epic. Have you registered? We are live on Eventbrite, or you can register through our website at vigorawards.org. Notice it's org, not .com. So don't forget that. I'll give you guys more updates on how that is going to unfold. It's going to be a virtual event this year, like I said before. So I would give you guys more updates. But without further ado, let me bring up our guest. Hello, Dr. Marlyn.
Yes, good evening, my queen. How are you?
I am blessed. Thank you so much for your time, always adding on to people's lives selflessly. We love you. And
I love you too.
before you go on today, I know I did not take permission from you to say this, but I'm just going to say this on a live video. There's a lady that you had mentored and trained to start her own business for free. And now, one of the video sessions, we had said that she did go ahead and started her own business. And after she started the business, within 1 month, she applied for a grant from the government. And now the government is going to be supporting her with 10 million naira. This is somebody you've never met before. You don't know this person. You just train them virtually. And now their lives have changed. The government is giving them this large amount of money for them to be able to expand their business and create more jobs for the locals. So I just want to put it out there that you are changing lives, not just in Canada, but even beyond in Africa for people that you've never met. And the broadcast that you're doing with us today, I am pretty sure is going to be changing somebody's lives also. And thank you so very much for doing this for us. I would let you take it away for now.
Okay, thank you, my queen. And it's always humbling. I believe when you want to impact lives, it's all about you being a role model as well. It's how you walk this journey through life, and it's all about humility. You have to be humble, no matter how powerful you are in terms of the accolades behind your name. If you cannot walk in humility, then you are really doing nothing to enhance humanity or yourself. Okay, so it's always important to do for others just as how you want them to do for you. And I underscore that by saying it is so important to understand the God within you and the God you serve. That spiritual connection will allow you to be selfless when you do things for others, right? And when you start from that foundation principle, the sky's the limit in terms of what you can do with his authority, the divine authority that's given to you to speak and act in this world as you empower others, as you train others, because the foundation is love. He declared that Love others as you love yourself. Do unto others as you would have them do to you.
That's
Okay?
right.
And that's very fundamental. Okay?
Mm.
And most times you do things, it's not about the reward that you think you will get in terms of monetary terms. Sometimes when you give of yourself, when you're selfless, you'd be surprised to know how powerful resources come into your life.
Amen. Yes.
Just like that.
Mm.
Okay? So it's very important to understand that bottom line principle. Now,
Mhm.
today we are going to continue to look at how we can raise resilient children and youth in this 21st century. Very important. And we have been going through this on Motivation Mondays, and we look at a parent child partnership before. We also looked at, community, the villages that we are exposing your children to in this world as they grow up due, due to nurturing and socialization processes.
Mhm.
Okay. Last time we met, we looked at the teacher's role, the partnership with teachers, and today I want to look in greater depth at what that means for the teachers of today. Last time we did indicate that based on what is happening now in the 21st century, we need to look at the new skills. And we did go through the 10 C's for raising resilient children before.
Mhm.
Okay. And you can go to our YouTube channel and you can have repeat of those. You can watch those videos again. Okay. And we did look last time at the teacher, and we indicated that it's time now that we begin to refocus what teacher education should look like, right? We learn from the times that we are living in. And so it's important to understand that as we move forward in this life, we cannot remain static as teachers. Lots of science and technological application, um, are these technologies are building new focus, new energy, new methods, new knowledge is
That's
coming to the
right.
fore. And as I said before, we are now, the world is in what is called the fourth industrial revolution, not the first, like when they used to have building big factories and so on decades ago. The world is in the palm of our hands. The technology is right there. And so we need to become on call with the technology in our classrooms and in our
Mhm.
spaces,
Mm.
right? In our homes, even, right? How
Yeah.
can we use that technology to make sure that we are building resilient families, right? We are not alienating our children and our youth, but we have to define the roles that we play, what the partnership should look like so that they can be successful students
Mm.
and adults with the right career, you know, and the right lifestyle, right? Learning for a successful, resilient lifestyle. That is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Okay. So the teachers, right? In order to look at that partnership between teachers and students, and teachers, students, and school. Because the school itself is a learning environment where teachers come in, right? Students come in, and parents also visit. And by the way, we don't want our parents to visit just because of disciplinary problem with our children
Mm.
in school.
Mm.
We want it to become a common practice where parents feel that they should be able to turn up at the school, call the teacher. I'd like to come in and speak about John. I want to see how well he's doing. What do you think? Right? When you begin as parent to build that kind of relationship, right? Now our children say, oh, you know what? Mommy and daddy, they will come to school to hear how well I'm doing. And therefore, I need to do well. I need to make sure I learn because I don't want mommy and daddy to get bad news about me in school. This is all part of what we call social and emotional learning so that our children go from home to school and the partnership continue because there's a common understanding that each person parent and teachers and the entire school community need to help to raise these children resiliently. So I ask you then, what is it going to look like in the classroom of today? Before I do that, however, I want us to look at two understanding what it means to be a culturally relevant learner or a culturally respectful learner or a teacher that is teaching culturally relevant practice in the classroom where the underlying or fundamental principle is respect for human dignity, respect for each child in that classroom, despite his color, despite his race, despite his religion, and generally, despite the difference in his cultural heritage. And by the way, you have learned recently with the many marches and protests because of killing of black people right across the world that this has raised fundamental question as what is happening. Why can't we get past all these prejudices and biases that continue generation after generation? There seemed to be no change at all. But as we live through the 21st century, with all the modern technology and knowledge as to how we can be effective and more efficient, it is not resonating into the education system. And by the way, many of our education authorities and leaders, policymakers, must now begin to question themselves. Are we doing enough to ensure that there's respect even in the classroom and in our education system for everyone? That there's not only equality, but equity, fair treatment of everyone, despite the color, class, race that our students come from. Why are we not doing this? Why is the education system not becoming more relevant? As we need to look now at this time where many skills are important to how we survive: critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, innovativeness, and all that. And against that, the whole culturally responsive learning system, where we now, despite the technical disciplines that we have to find means as teachers to be able to understand that the children, or the students, I should say generally, because they're from the little toddlers right up, right? That they are recognized as being worthy, as being important, no matter their culture, no matter their color, and that they learn differently. There are different learning styles. Why do we now look at teaching them with a cookie cutter approach? One size fit all. No. And last time we spoke, this lack of understanding sometimes lead to streaming, which is detrimental to our children. So what is this culturally relevant teaching practice? And what is this culturally relevant learner or responsive learner? Okay, each child who gets into that classroom is coming in with his lived experience, and those experiences will enrich the classroom, right? So that each child learns from the other, or learn within themselves, that though they're different, they're commonalities. And each child has a voice and can contribute important knowledge that may not be available to everyone in that classroom, right? As we learn some facts within the disciplines. It's even about how we as teachers assign work to our students. Do we believe that it's a one size fit all work system in terms of activities? Children learn differently, as I said before. Why aren't we now using the different knowledge from our diverse culture to enrich so that we are training children to live resiliently and live well in an environment of globalization? Think about it. These are these very same children when they grow up that will travel the world for work. So, why are we not focusing on that culturally relevant teaching practice so that we get unity within diversity? But it is a good thing because that unity will point to the need to make sure that our children learn well who they are, why they are the way they are, and how they can better the lives of other people who are less fortunate. You know, I've always heard this, that people would respond, when you say, "Are you a racist?" And they respond, "No, I am not a racist." It's easy to say that. But is that the truth? Is it really the truth? Or is it just that normal response so that we don't continue the conversation further? Should we look deep within to find truth? Can we honestly answer that all of us, that we are not biased and prejudiced? This seems to be the norm right now. When people say, "Are you racist?" No, I'm not. But the truth is there, isn't it? Our classroom should be free of prejudices and biases. The teacher is a learner, and the learner is also a teacher. And that's the two-way flow of knowledge, information, and ideas that enrich the class, and that enriches the classroom for better. Okay? Do we really think our children don't know? Why do we continue to use the same methodology year after year to teach the particular concept? Why don't we use more integrated learning systems, and methods that speak to the cultural heritage, for example? How do you do it in the Chinese culture? What is it like in the Indian culture? What is it like in the African culture? What is it like in the Afro-Caribbean culture? Just to name a few. And when we would have gathered those different practices, then our children will learn to be able to express themselves and understand that though it's a diverse world, that we can learn from each other, we can respect each other, right? The world would be a better place, don't you think so? So let me underscore this again, right? You need to ask yourself, is my child a culturally responsive learner, or is the student a culturally responsive student? Is the teacher a culturally responsive teacher? We need to get those questions right. Okay? Culturally responsiveness is the ability to learn from and relate respectfully with people of your own culture as well as those from other cultures. And where are they gathered? Where is the difference so well known than in the classroom and in our churches and in our community centers, where all of us in a multicultural society are gathered, and where we have to take note of what is happening in the classroom today? Are we considering this as education policymakers? Do we even begin to think of how we can introduce this if we are not doing it, into the education of our teachers. After all, our teachers are supposed to be role model. They are supposed to be coaches as well as teachers. They sometimes are mothers where children have no mother. They play many roles, and that's great. That's wonderful for our teachers to do all this, play all these roles, because they are nurturing the education of our children. They're there to help to build the skills. So much is desired of them, much is required of them. Sometimes where parents don't even have the knowledge. Our teachers should have these knowledge so that they can share strategies with parents and share that partnership process so that they're on the same page with their parents to be able to raise these students well. Let's think about it. Okay? So a culturally responsive learner respects and value each person despite their color, class, or nationality, just to name a few. Why should you show respect for each other, you may ask? This is because of love, as I said before, as God intended you to love one another. And you can't say, you know, I love Johnny when you don't even love yourself as a mother, or you don't even love yourself as a teacher. You have issues too with love. As simple as that. So, how can you show love for Johnny or Martha or Mary in your classroom? Think about it. A culturally responsive learner, I must add this, must also understand that we not only live in a diverse world in our communities and so on, but we are diverse in terms of our level of income, our levels of poverty, right? Sometimes we're in a classroom with children, and teachers know that. You can tell who are the children who come from well-to-do families and those children who come from poor families. There's a difference here in terms of economic well-being. Is this important to us as teachers? How do we set those children who are poor or less able? How do we help them to understand that they are valued no matter what? I believe a lot of the issues, the systemic problems we have in this world, right? We do have them because we are not addressing those issues from foundation stage in the education process, so that our students from their young grow with that understanding that they are their brother's keeper and that they need to love and respect each other despite the color of their skin. And yes, sometimes we hear people saying, "Oh, I am colorblind." Are you? What does that even mean, to be colorblind? That's also an easy answer out. Let's get real. Let's begin to ask ourselves as teachers some critical question. Am I being true to my students? Or am I just wearing masks? Many of us in this world, we wear masks to cover up what we truly feel about each other. Why are we afraid to embrace each other? Why? I believe if we don't start to begin to nurture in the right way within the homes, within the school, and teach our students and let them have their voice to say, give their ideas, give their opinions, because they are valuable. And when you allow them to do this, they begin to build their own self-confidence too, right? And self-respect as well. respect for others, respect for yourself. It helps our student to understand how they need to regulate themselves, how they need to respond with compassion and empathy. This is what we teach them out of respect for each other. Think about it. Wouldn't it be a wonderful world when each of us begin to think of the other person as part of the human family and we need to treat them differently? And where can this learning take place? Very well, huh? In the school system, in the classroom, right? Where teachers partner now with students to make sure they bring out the best in their students. Because the learning is not only about the academic discipline, the learning is also about how you help children to be respectful and understanding of each other and build that compassion, just the way you speak with them and how you ask them and encourage them to speak with each other with that respect. Think about it. I will take a break here and I'll be back in a few minutes. My queen, I leave it to you.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, I was just saying that I love where you said it would be a wonderful world when we can all work together, removing the mask off of our faces and be real with everyday life and how we are raising the young generations that will take over the world for tomorrow. Um, Having said that, I think we're just gonna keep living by faith, hoping that this will become a reality one day. Because, like you said, racism plays a very big role in all of these things that you're teaching. Because if you're looking at a child that this child, the family has a lot of money, so I better treat this child different than the other child that the family don't have money. And you're very right. These teachers, they do know because they spend more time with these children than the parents. So they know the children talk, and sometimes the parents come to visit and they will ask, "Where do you work? Or do you own businesses?" So yeah, they do know who to treat. But I'm going to leave it to you to, uh, give us your advice on how to move forward, and keys of things that we can do to actually
Yes.
begin to see these changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Thank you so much.
I am leading now into what I call the culturally responsive teaching. This is looking at strategies of how our teachers can help our children. Okay. And as
Mhm.
I said, this is a teaching practice that puts understanding of the diverse cultures that contribute to and shape our society. It is a practice of acknowledging that all cultures and races contribute to the building of our society. It doesn't matter whether they're rich or poor,
Mhm.
but they do contribute. Even if you're an employee and not an employer, you're part of the process, the flow that allows things to happen in this world, to change our world socially and economically, and sometimes politically too. But we'll not go there at this moment. Okay? So it is a practice of acknowledging that all cultures and races contribute to the building of society and should be valued, and that learners from all races should be valued equally and treated equitably or fairly in the access to education, for example, despite their culture, despite everything, access to the education system to be educated is important, despite your level of wealth And there should be equal treatment for all learners in the space we call the classroom. Okay? So it's very important, despite our racial differences. Further, we need to know that the cultural features should be included in learning environment and the transfer of knowledge. Okay? So what is this going to look like? What will it take our teachers to do? All right? Teachers must now be be encouraged, right? To encourage children to have a voice in the classroom, to listen to their ideas. Because believe it or not, sometimes their ideas are so important. You think they're geniuses. But we never know this unless we encourage that thought process and for them to speak and share their knowledge and share their ideas. You have a project to do, encourage them. And some teachers are doing that. But it has to be the norm that all teachers should encourage this kind of approach. And not only that, but to include different teaching strategies that will appeal to the learning styles of each child. Some children are visual learners. For example, they like to see pictures. They like to express themselves that way. So we need to learn this. And, I know in a lot of our teacher education institution, they're introduced to that. But sometimes when we get into the classroom, the practice falls short of this because we have to rush to finish a syllabus. And by the way, when we look right now, today, across the world, different countries are doing different things right now. It's not about learning by rote and everything. Look at Finland, is doing that. Look at Singapore. There are many countries that are thinking and teaching and having education systems that are out of the box now. Okay? Where they're building the creativity of the students in the classroom because they have knowledge and ideas to share. That's how they become innovative, right? And innovative children are change makers, right? They're thinking out of the box. But miss, why can't we do it this way? What about this? Don't shut up his curiosity and his innovativeness. Let's hear him. Because that child or student might be that amazing change maker to make the world a better place by these ideas and his innovativeness. How are you going to know if you don't start cultivating it within that child from early? From he shows you that he has ideas. You have to get to know your student, each of your students. And yes, you might think that, oh, I can't learn all of our students. Yes, you can. They are with you, except for the pandemic now. That they're learning online and they're at home, But even the new norms to come, you will have to face them, whether it's online or otherwise. And you have to get to know them, each of them. And yes, it will take a lot out of you. But yes, because you choose that profession, much is desired of you. Yeah. So you need to get it right. You must get to know your student and their learning style. And so you give instructional activity where no child is left behind because he's falling into a sort of normative system where he has to do the work this particular way and he cannot share his innovativeness. We have to also include different cultural practices and styles in the learning environment. Some cultures believe in storytelling, for example. Are we encouraging our children to tell stories in terms of the knowledge they have so that they can share their ideas? Do we even do role playing, right? So that they can express themselves, okay? Do we even put them together to do innovative research and report back to the class on their findings? This is what we mean by building critical thinking skills as well as problem solving skills. Let them research a problem in group. The World Wide Web is there. Teach them how to use the internet responsibly, right? So that they can gather information, which you as a teacher cannot tell them in one class or two classes. But they will bring back those research information, those knowledge that they have gained to share. Think of your strategies. It's never a one size fit all right? Especially in this new century where the world of work is never ever going to be the same again. Even the type of work our children will do in the future. The best thing is to understand them, the impact of culture, and the new skills that they need to learn, right? Creativity, innovativeness, critical thinking, so that they build also the emotional intelligence that's necessary to be able to live resiliently in this world. It's very, very important, teachers, that we begin to think this way. We begin to reflect on what we have been doing. Are we just preparing them to write an exam and that's it? Or are we preparing our students to be global citizens? Teaching that social learning, that civic knowledge, that understanding that they have to share the world with a common destiny. When one fails, everyone fails, really and truthfully. If you delve deep enough, you will see this. And much I know is asked of you as teachers. And I know many will say, oh, they don't pay us well, and they don't. And that's where policymakers need to look in and engage teachers and engage in a new paradigm. So it's not only that the teacher will provide culturally relevant pedagogy or teaching practice, but they should be acknowledged as having new responsibilities for this new decade, for example. Look at what has happened with the COVID and where students now had to go online to learn. Lots of issues came out of this and are still coming out as we approach going back to school. Are we settled in our minds that we are ready? Are we truly ready for learning in this century, especially what is happening in terms of technological advancement? I dare say we are facing a new classroom. We are facing a new learning environment where we now have to begin to think again and look at our education policies, for example. How do we get these policies to reflect the new norm of what is happening now? Let's think about that. I'll take a break here for a moment. My queen?
Yes, absolutely. I am right behind the scene, watching everything and taking notes.
I know you always do that.
Thank
Yes.
you. Yeah, always taking notes. Anyways, I was just listening to the part where you're saying that the teachers are saying they're not well paid. I used to always say that Teachers should be the highest paid in the whole profession. Because if you come to look at it,
Yes,
even mothers at home are teachers. Your neighbors are teaching the children. The classroom settings, they are teachers. Anybody that is anybody today what was
yes.
taught by somebody. So I support them in that area when they say teaching jobs
It is
don't pay
sad.
well. So they're not encouraged to. Yeah, it's very sad. And I hope, people that would listen to this broadcast now or after the fact that this broadcast is going to go somewhere, please repost the video. Let it go out. You never know who is going to stumble into it and said, wow, look at what this doctor is saying. It is true. How can we make a change? Change cometh when everybody comes together, believing on one thing and getting it done.
Yes.
Just me talking or Dr. Morris talking or one person talking somewhere else never brings any change. We need to work together. When you see this video, repost it, send it to authorities. Any network that you have, send it out. Let them listen to what Dr. Morris is saying. And hopefully, you never know, somebody would make a change because they can. They might be in the right position to be able to bring that change. So our teachers, first of all, need to be well taken care of because
Yes.
they are the frontline workers in the lives of these children.
Yes.
Very
I
important.
yes.
Thank you so much. In rounding up, we have another like just maybe 10 more minutes. We are going to allow Dr. Morris to bring everything together for us so we can have all the pies and everything juiced up together. Take it away,
Yes.
Dr. Morris.
Yes, my queen. Thank you very much. And I'm an educator, curriculum developer, and for years, and I, go right across the education system from the younger ones, primary level, right up to universities, masters, and PhD degree students. So this is what I do, teaching those levels as well as preparing them mentally for success in career and life and so on. So, as an educator, I'm very concerned. And yes, we don't get paid well at all. A lot of time we give of our own resources and we are not respected. It's taken for granted. And that is a little sad. So it's time we begin to look at our teachers and how we value them and what we need to do to retool them so that they can be masters of education in this century and beyond, I dare say. So now I want you to focus on that character building of teachers. How do we help them to be able to partner well with the children in the classroom? And I'm going to open this to show you what is important here. We need to train our teachers in strategies that will enhance social and emotional learning. This is the life skill, the social skill, the skills for them to be able to handle bullyism in the classroom, bullies on the net, on the internet, privacy concerns, a lot of these things to be responsible about using the net, and the emotional learning as well. Why can't we understand how children feel? Some of us as parents never even consider that our children do have feelings. And when we shout at them, right? When we react rather than respond, as teachers and parents as well, are we building good children and good students? All right, who will be able to manage their own self regulation, to build self confidence, to have empathy and compassion. By the way, this is important that we begin to teach our teachers in the education training institution, I should say, to teach teachers to become teachers as well. Okay? We also need to teach them these social and emotional learning skill to transfer to their children to build that resiliency in our children as we speak about. We need to train teachers, by the way, in what I call mindfulness strategies in education for good classroom management and for ensuring successful outcome within our children. And mindfulness speak to the teacher being present in the moment that he or she is in the classroom, getting ready to teach and getting the children ready for learning. She can't be thinking of what happened the night before in terms of maybe quarrels or whatever it is that affected her negatively or him negatively, right? As he gets into the classroom. He has to be trained to know what a mindful teacher is. A teacher that is present in the moment and is ready to teach and is able to get the learners ready to learn. How do we manage that? Are we training our teachers to shout at the children? Shut up and sit down. Close your mouth. Get ready. No, 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 no. That will not work. We have to begin to respond in the moment with empathy and compassion and understanding and being present there, right? And call on our children in firm yet gentle calls to action to begin to learn, right? So that I always use this example when you're in the classroom as a teacher in front of your class. Do you get their attention by shouting at them? Isn't it better to just stand there and observe them and watch them and being silent? And then suddenly they will stop what they're doing and look at you. Huh? Yes, the teacher is ready for me. I better shut up. And you see them nudging each other. Stop it, stop it, watching. Stop it, teacher is watching. And then get them ready for learning. Bring their attention to the moment in which you all are, that present moment when you're getting ready to learn. And there are skills to teach them how to breathe in that moment, how to smile in that moment, how to focus on something in that moment. These are some of the mindfulness strategy that teachers ought to learn in their teacher education process so that they can employ these very same strategy to get student ready for learning in an atmosphere of love, gentility, all right, and emotional calmness. Think about it. We need, therefore, to build what I call the mindful teacher. Who is he? Who is she? He or she is aware of the need to focus calmly without distraction of his mind on something else. Because when he's distracted or she's distracted to have some happening in her life, she is not ready to take on the challenge of teaching those little ones. She will react to them in anger sometimes rather than the gentle response to get their attention. Okay? So she needs to learn how to manage stress so she doesn't take the stress into the classroom. She will be able to know strategies to leave that stress at the door before she gets into that classroom space so that she is able to acknowledge these students and to guide them in the moment so that they can learn. And there are many, many strategies. The teacher himself should be a coach too, and a role model and a mentor. Many, many things, many careers, many options for this single teacher. But the teacher can get ready in our professional education program. The mindful teacher, the teacher as a coach, the teacher as a role model. The teacher is called on to be many things for children. After all, you have them in front of you more hours in the day than even their parents. Think about it. All right. So they must be taught teacher parent partnership and engagement strategies so that parents will now be willing to volunteer their time in school to come and hear what the teachers have to say and to say to the teacher, I would love to come and help out when I have time on a Friday. What do you need me to do? Right?
Mm.
That's the new approach and the new strategy for the 21st century. When we talk about the parent teacher school partnership for raising successful children. Well, my queen, that is it for today. I hope I was able to motivate and begin a thinking process in our teachers and our parents to see how we can move forward in this new education environment of the 21st century. Okay?
Thank you
It's all about
so much.
you're
Thank you.
most
Thank you. Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, so for mindful teachers, if you want to become a mindful teacher, you need to connect with Dr. Marlyn
Yes,
Morris.
I do
I
teach.
have the information. Her email is info@ontariocollegetraining.org, or you can go on the website ontariocollegetraining.org to register. There's so many courses. I am a beneficiary of one of her training coach train the trainer coach series, and
Yes.
it's amazing. It has actually changed my life. It's one of the things that give me the confidence to be doing what I'm doing right now on social media. So please connect with her, and you can easily, if you don't remember anything that I've just said, just Google Queen Amina Show and DM me and say, I want to connect with that professor that
Yes.
was on my show, and I
Yes.
would gladly connect you. So make
And,
sure.
and by the way, my queen, I just want them to know as well that there's a transformation coaching website where I teach transformation coaching for parent coaching, teachers as coaches, you name it. And it's drmarlynmorris.com. One word, drmarlynmorris.com,
Okay.
right? And inspiring life solutions. Okay.
Okay.
I'm waiting to hear from you because it will be a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Dr. Morris.
Thank you
And
kindly.
yeah, thank you so much again. Our time is up, and we'll see you next week with our More Monday with
Yes.
Dr. Marlyn Morris. Thanks once again, Dr. Morris. God bless you.
Thank you, my queen. Bye.
Oh, what an amazing day with Dr. Marlyn Morris. Our More Monday, Motivation Monday topic today is raising resilient children in the 21st century, a partnership approach. And we were focused on teachers today. So thank you again, Dr. Marlyn Morris. Oh, my Mama Floxy talk show. She is live and well here. Make sure you're subscribed to her YouTube channel. She is an amazing woman, and I follow her on YouTube. I've seen her shows. They're very inspiring. Make sure that you are tuned in and you subscribe to her YouTube channel. Thank you guys all so much. Don't forget to subscribe to the Queen Amina Show. And we're going to see you guys tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube and Facebook on the Queen Amina Show. Do you want to learn how to make legal, legitimate money on social media? Join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Dr. Stan Harris and Amanda Ray. These two guys have created a platform that is amazingly beautiful to help you learn how to strategize your marketing strategies on social media. They're going to be my guest tomorrow on the Queen. Don't forget to stay tuned and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Queen Amina Show. Follow me on Instagram, The Queen Amina, and on Facebook. Make sure you are following our page, The Queen Amina Show, and belong to our community, Queen Amina Show group. We will see you tomorrow. Until then, keep watching The Queen Amina Show and keep smiling.